the Marvel's Avengers Doomsday trailer was released over the weekend during the D23 event, especially, I think, particularly on Friday. And a lot of people since then, when it was released online, have watched the trailers, and I'm sure you have as well. So, this particular presentation would be the Avengers Doomsday trailer reaction and more so a review of the entire trailer to see the hidden gems that are in this particular much anticipated trailer of the movie to be released in December. So let's just dive right into it and we'll discuss it further as we go along. So let's go.
Victor was always the smartest guy in every room. He used to be different. He used to be kind, he used to be caring. And then, everything he loved was taken from him. I knew he was lost, but I did not realize that he was broken.
Victor, did you do this?
All of you have lived, stolen lives. But now you must give them back.
Answer me, Victor! Did you do this?
I swear, you will beg for a hell long before I grant it.
Hell answers to me. For I am Doom.
Wow, so this is Avengers Doomsday trailer, and I'm certain, I mean, looking at what we've seen so far, it looks very good. And I must say that this particular trailer seems to be, I mean, obviously it is Doctor Doom heavy, and to, it feels like this was the fourth trailer that they should have released, aside the three or teaser that they should have released, aside the three ones that were released previously, because the other three had that of X-Men, also that of the Wakandans meeting the Fantastic 14, and forgotten the last one was Thor. I think the other one too was Thor. So it feels like this particular trailer fits within the let me use it, the trilogy of teasers that was released way earlier on before we had that particular one. And the rumors with regards to the content of this trailer seems to be true because prior to the release of this, I think about weeks ago or months ago, you had a lot of film pundits with information about a leak of this trailer, trying to describing this trailer in details, and it looks like for the most part of it, or perhaps throughout all, they had it right. So yeah, and so let's just delve into it and break it down much further. So the very opening shot has Doctor Doom seated on his throne in the Latverian, I mean, his throne room in the Latverian hall. The fascinating aspect of it is that I think the stained glasses sort of cast this green glow or glare from the sunlight filtering through into the room. From initial setting, it looks like perhaps that is what is causing the glow on the ground. But from a closer look at it, points to the fact that it may be what's it called? Um, Fire embers, green fire embers that is displayed on the ground. So I don't know whether it's a
Victor
spell
was
that
always the
has been
smartest guy in every room.
casting or something. Yeah.
He used to be different. He used to be kind, he used to be caring.
So from the very first shot, using the dialogue of Sue Storm, I think literally this particular movie has the Fantastic Four team and Doctor Doom front and center of this particular production, particular film, seeing the fact that when it comes to the comic books in particular, or even the films that we've seen of the Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom is always the villain or the arch villain of that team. So to have Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm narrate who Victor Von Doom is or was seems right. And also the narration points to the fact that Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four have some sort of relationship. They know each other very well. And right off the bat, if you're using this trailer as a measure of the origin story of Doctor Doom in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they are establishing that he was the smartest in the room. As to whether he is smarter than Tony Stark or Dr. Banner or Shuri, that we do not know. But obviously, it looks like if he's the smartest in the room in his world, it's likely to be the smartest in any room on Earth as well, which may point to the fact that Victor Von Doom might be smarter than Shuri or anybody else who exists in the 616 universe. But aside that, if you pay attention carefully, she speaks about how he used to be very different. He used to be kind. He used to be, all that. And then all of a sudden, something, it looks like he's entirely different. But observe something clearly. I think when you watch Vanessa Kirby's face, she was sharing a tear. I don't know whether it is
And then
necessarily Dr.
Victor
Doom
was always the
himself,
smartest guy in
or
every room.
perhaps the rumor of Dr. Doom kidnapping kids or stealing kids from the Avengers is what is leading her to shed a tear, or perhaps she feels sad for Doctor Doom himself, having been a friend, and maybe she feels sad for him because she says something that she knew he was lost, but didn't know he was broken. So yeah.
He used to be different. He used to be kind, he used to be caring.
Yeah, so if you watch her carefully, she's sharing a tear. And I don't know, I'm sure, yes, she's empathetic to the loss of Dr. Doom, losing the family. But I think it's more or less for this tear might be partly for Dr. Doom, but also perhaps if the rumors are true, if a child has been stolen, then perhaps this tear is also for mainly for her child rather than Dr. Doom as a whole. But then I've been wondering that since we haven't, for those of us who may not know much about Dr. Doom from the comic books, if this is our first introduction to Dr. Doom on the screen, my question is this backstory enough for us audiences to buy into the fact that yes, Doctor Doom is that broken? I don't know whether there will be any flashback to sort of establish how kind and good natured of a man that Doctor Doom is prior to being broken. And then if that was the case, then it means that obviously, losing a loved one would impact anybody, gravely, particularly when you love them so much. And from except of this trailer that we are seeing, it looks like one way or the other they will find a way of establishing how much he loves the family. But my only concern is that perhaps most of the shots we may see of Doctor Doom having, if there's any flashback at all, most of the shots that were established of him interacting with the family would mainly be from a POV, knowing that it's been stated that there's no the Doctor Doom's face will never be revealed in this film, and it's even if it's revealed, it won't be explained till later. So I don't know. I doubt whether there will be a full shot of Doctor Von Doom played by Robert Downey Jr. and the family. So that is something I'm wondering how they will go about it to establish how much he feels. Unless perhaps the acting chops, definitely he's a very good actor. Robert Downey Jr., all the scenes that will show him in the mask will point to the fact of how much he loves the family so much that he would destroy multiple worlds and people in it just to potentially redeem his family. So that is something left to be seen. Particularly seeing how the Marvel Cinematic Universe started with origin stories, in part I sort of see the trilogy of teasers that was released way earlier prior to the first trailer and this trailer more as origin stories on their own to sort of build up towards this film since we've never had any stories that have led to the building up to this particular event film. So it will be quite interesting to see how the whether we can empathize. Yes, on a general scope, yes, anybody who has lost a child or a wife or a loved one, we will be empathetic to the person. But would that be enough to portray without an origin story before we watch this film? And I think, well, the Russo brothers have been able to do well with the films that they directed so far, so possibly that will be the case. And for Dr. Doom to have kidnapped or stolen the Mr. Fantastic's son or um, Franklin Stone. My question is that yes, is did he capture him for his powers? Because at the end of the Fantastic Four, when it looks like Sue Storm died, the child sort of resurrected Sue Storm. So does the child have the ability to bring back Doctor Doom's family back from the dead? I possibly think that that's the reason why he came in for Franklin Storm. As to that is if it's true, and as to the other kids that he might have potentially kidnapped as well or stolen, I don't know whether it's just out of spite of kidnapping these kids, because along the line, when we listen further, he did state that all these people are stolen, they've lived stolen lives. So now he's sort of paying them back. So that's what I think. So to finally see all these folks on screen together is amazing. To see Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and then you have Channing Tatum. It's amazing. And there you have Steve Rogers. But other people have speculated, and I think I do agree with them. This Steve Rogers might not necessarily be the Steve Rogers that we know. Yes, it may be a branch. I mean, the branch that was created, a different version of him, but still with the memories and the experiences of the original Steve Rogers. Because in the Avengers Endgame, when it ended, Steve Rogers was already a grown man, meaning that they would have to go back in time to bring this particular Steve Rogers to come and fight, join and help the fight. So I actually don't think it is the original um, Captain America or Steve Rogers as found in the mainline MCU. I think it's for lack of a better word, a variant or a replicant that was created as a result of the him going to the past and then a different timeline was created altogether. So that's what I'm thinking. It might not necessarily be the Steve Rogers we know, or even if it is, it meant that they had to go back into the past and then bring this particular version. What it means is that if old man Steve Rogers was still alive in the MCU prior to this event, he might have died. And it's something I want to see how they're going to explain in this particular movie. Yeah.
Then everything he loved was taken from him.
So the dialogue, everything he loved was taken from him, points to the fact that the incursion, perhaps what Steve Rogers did and what the Avengers team did just to fight Thanos by going to the past, what Ant-Man, Paul Rudd's, is this Scott Lang said it's a time heist, might have caused the accident or whatever it is that made him lose his family. Now, bear in mind the dialogue says, you know, was taken from him. Everything that he lost, I mean, was taken from him. So it is implying that he might not have been the cause of their death. Well, we are yet to see whether that is indeed the case. Does Hugh Storm know enough to to speak to the matter that he lost them not out of his own experiment that he might have done to have lost them? That we cannot tell. So, but from the dialogue, if you are just using the dialogue alone, it is pointing to the fact that he lost them not out of his own cause or instigation, but he lost them perhaps possibly through the incursion. And from the how sad looking the main, Steve Rogers was, I mean, he looked empathetic and sad about it, and obviously he feels guilty if he was truly the cause of the incursion that might have led to the death of Dr. Von Doom's parents.
I knew he was.
And to see all these members together for the new Avengers, um, the Wakandans, the Talokans, and the Simu, and a whole host of other, you know, Marvel Cinematic Universe, big, both from the Fox universe, and obviously, I don't know whether Sony. We don't. It's been said that Spider-Man will not be in this one, but obviously, to have all these iconic characters show up together in a film is quite exciting to see, and how they are going to interact with each other. It's something that I in particular, I'm looking forward to see how that will pan out.
Lost, but I did not realize that he was broken.
So if he was broken, then it means that he's lost his sanity. He's lost his sanity and he's just out for vengeance against anybody who dares come his way. But then there's one of the things I'm looking out for is how they would explain that, how they would show it, so that we can, even though we might not have watched an origin story prior to this, we would fully understand his pain, his brokenness, so that we can, at least in a way, empathize with him before he turns very villainous and goes for anybody or anyone at all. So yeah, that's what I'm actually looking out for.
Victor,
Devastation.
did you do this? All of you have lived stolen lives. But now you must give them back.
So yeah, the dialogue, all of you have led stolen lives and now you must give them back, obviously points to the fact that whatever they did that might have caused the incursion actually did claim the lives of his family, and he's out for blood, out for vengeance, and nothing is stopping him. So it is quite interesting. and the way they showcased the children, all the four children from Ant-Man to um, Thor's adopted child Love, and then Steve Rogers' son, as well as that of Johnny Storm's nephew, the way he was cleaving onto him, it potentially points to the fact that he's out for them or might have already kidnapped them for their abilities. I don't know what ability Captain America's son may have necessarily. I don't know much about his son from the comics books, but I guess if not for their powers, it's just to spite the Avengers for what they have done to him. Yeah, so it's quite interesting to see. Now, when you look at this building, I don't know. I don't recognize this building in the 616 universe, unless perhaps it's part of a bigger structure that have been demolished and this edifice have been left alone. But from the look of it, it doesn't look like it's from the 616 universe itself proper. I may be mistaken, but if you know it, I'm sure you can let me know about it. Yeah.
Answer me, Victor! Did you do this?
Yeah, so it looks like Mr. Fantastic is very surprised as to the carnage that uh, Victor Von Doom has wreaked on that world that we find ourselves in. And it looks
I swear, you will beg for a hell.
because from the Fantastic Four film that we watched, uh, well, it wasn't established that it left their universe, but when you watch Thunderbolts at the very latter part, we had the spaceship of the Fantastic Four entering into the stratosphere of the 616 universe. So obviously, this event that is happening right now may be happening in the 616 universe, or is actually happening in the 616 universe. So how the X-Men ended up or ends up in this particular universe is left to be explained or to be seen when the film is finally released. But obviously, Doomsday is not stopping till he destroys anybody in his path who he blames for the death of his family. And to see him sort of have honored his family with that mural on the wall, it's all points to the fact that he really loves
Long
them. So
before I grunt it.
you know, he says something about um you will beg for hell before I grant it. And I feel
Answers
like
to me.
the the whole idea of the dialogue for me, I'm looking at it from this perspective. So Thor is said to be like a demigod of a sort. It's said to be like a demigod, and in the religious parlance, it means that gods are supposed to determine where. I mean, from the fictional world that they are creating, either you are going to Valhalla or you end up in hell or whatsoever. And for Thor to say, listen, you're gonna beg for hell before I grant it, long before I grant it to you. And it's funny because in the context of the film, Thor is a demigod or a god, and Dr. Von Doom is not a god, but has been able to harness the power of science and magic together to literally elevate him to the god status. And the the funny aspect of it all is that if you watch the trailer where it just showed Thor in that particular teaser, he he was seen to be praying to the gods of the Norse gods of where he came from, and seeking the guidance and the protection and the power of all the gods to help him in this effort. So meaning that Thor's power here is not just the regular Thor we know, but he's bringing the entire might of why do I keep forgetting the name? But he's bringing that entire might and power against Dr. Von Doom. And the funny aspect is that not only did Thor not scratch, I mean, the sad part is that he couldn't even scratch or cut off the fingers of Dr. Von Doom. I even think that he didn't even make a dent on the gloves that Dr. Von Doom was wearing, and that is quite interesting. My only concern is that I'm hoping that they do not dump down the powers of Thor just to make the Doctor Doom feel very dominant or very powerful. From the look of it, Doctor Doom seems to be all powerful in this film, but I'm hoping that they make Thor as very formidable as it should. This particular scene of where the, Doctor Doom stops Thor's hammer with just two fingers is almost parallel, is a parallel effect of what Thanos did with the Hulk in the Infinity War. And even though I felt like Hulk was a world breaker and they should have made him much more formidable than what he did in the film. But I get the idea. The idea was more of a plot device to make us feel how powerful Thanos is in going against the Hulk. But Hulk as as a character is much more powerful than we saw in the Avengers Infinity War. But point taken, the whole idea of this scene is to illustrate how powerful of a villain that Doctor Doom is, and is not sparing any horses. So that is quite interesting. And then as a rebuttal to what Thor said that what you'll be begging me for hell long before I grant it. Here he also says something quite opposite it, and it's quite interesting.
For I am Doom.
So he said, hell bows to me, for I am doomed. And there is something very interesting about the dialogue they are choosing specifically for Doctor Doom. I am of the opinion that well, it's literally impossible in this day and age to hide someone as big as Dr. Downey Jr., Robert Downey Jr. acting in this film. Otherwise, it would have been so fantastic to conceal it, have him act in this film without anybody knowing, and then in the end, when he finally takes off the mask and realize that it's still Robert Downey Jr., but maybe a variant of Tony or whichever way. That would have been the biggest surprise. But I think that I like the idea of using this dialogue of hell bows to me, for I am doomed. The I am doomed is literally also like drawing parallels with what Tony Stark said in the very first film, saying I am Iron Man, and then in the last film before rounding up Tony Stark's arc or story, he also said, I am Iron Man. Here, he says, I am Doom. So, if you do not know anything about the fact that Robert Downey Jr., who played Tony Stark, is also in this film, and you finally watch it and hear this line, and then he is revealed, you then understand that, yes, one of them is a variant of the other. And some of the theories that others have been propounding, particularly about Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark being a variant of Victor Von Doom, seems to be it seems very possible. It seems very possible, and other people have been able to tie in some when I say Easter eggs that was dropped in um, Endgame when they were going for the the pim particles to help them travel further. Tony Stark met the father, and then just when he met the father, apparently the mother of Tony Stark was pregnant with him. But other people were able to investigate and realize that date, the date of birth of Tony Stark doesn't really align with that of that of the time that Tony Stark's mother was pregnant with him. So that's quite interesting. That is, if it's proven to be true, then it's very possible that the Tony Stark we know in the main 616 film might be adopted and might be a variant of Victor Von Doom. Other theories are propounding that they might have been switched. Whatever the theories may be, I can't explain now till we get to watch the film. But just by the line of saying I am Doom, when you contrast it to what Tony Stark had been saying in the two major films from Iron Man 1 and then Avengers Endgame, it looks like they might be the same person, but variants of each other in different worlds. So it adds some credence to what people have been speculating all along, and I think it'll be interesting to see when we finally watch the film and get to know what exactly that is. But these powers, it looks like Dr. Doom has taken it to another level by giving them. It's almost it's almost similar to what Michael Fassbender's character Magneto did with the Sentinels in the Days of Future Past. If you haven't watched it, maybe you should. So it's almost quite similar. Proving that Magneto is really an Omega mutant level, character. So it's quite interesting. But I think his ability is much more. Seeing how he treated Thor like a child, by whatever power emanating from his armor or from his being, it is something else. So from the look of the suit and how the powers emanate from his from wherever it is through his gloves or his hands, definitely it looks like the suit is what is sustaining him. Whatever accidents he might have ended up in, is that power is really sustaining him. So it might be in the suit entirely. I don't know whether if the suit is stripped of him, does he still retain the power? That is something that we are yet to see. Okay. So yeah, there you have it. My review of Avengers Doomsday, and we have exactly about 4 months to get into the cinemas to watch this. Obviously, I think they will be showing another trailer before we finally get to watch the film itself. But so far, this trailer has given us much more than all the teasers and the first trailer has given, at least giving us a little bit into the motive of what Dr. Doom is about to do. He didn't clearly state it, but obviously, watching how he was, I mean, I think Vanessa Kirby's Storm explained it clearly that he lost his family. So that's the motive of why he's on a vengeful spree to deal with anybody who tampered with the timeline and is in for blood. So it is quite interesting to see. So let me know your thoughts about this particular trailer. Do you think some of the theories that people have been propounding really aligns with what we are seeing in the trailer? Whatever your thoughts may be, kindly leave them in the comment section below. And thanks for watching. My name is Papa Otu, and I'll come your way again soon. See you later.